This video will cover section 2.8, part 1, and this part is on operations on functions. So when we think about operations, we think about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And we're going to do that using functions. Alright, so we're going to go through a couple of examples using the function f, which is 3x minus 4, and the function g, which is 2x squared minus 1. We're going to form these four operations. So if I have f plus g of x, that simply means to take the function f and the function g and add them together. If I have f minus g of x, that means to take f of x and subtract from it the function g of x. Alright, f times g of x means to take f of x and multiply it times the function g of x. And then f over g of x means to take the function f of x and divide it by the function g of x. And so we're going to do that with these two functions here, f of x being 3x minus 4 and g of x being 2x squared minus 1. Now I'm going to show you two ways that you can work these out. I don't care which method you use, as long as you show your work. Alright, so f plus g of 0 means I want to take the functions f and g and add them together, and x is going to be 0. Alright, so here is, I want to show you method 1. Alright, so for method 1, I can take f of x and g of x and add them together. So f of x would be 3x minus 4, and g of x would be 2x squared minus 1. So when I combine them together, I get 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. And so this would be f plus g of x. But remember, I'm looking for what is the value of the function. So now, to find f plus g of 0, I would take this new function, and everywhere there's an x, I would put a 0. So I'm going to say 2 times 0 squared plus 3 times 0 minus 5 would be 0 plus 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. Now remember, when I'm asked to put in a value to my function, such as here, I should get out a value. If they don't tell me a value, then I should just have a new function. Alright, the second way you could work this out, alright, would be to find f of 0 plus g of 0. Alright, and so f of 0 would mean to take the function f, and everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 0. So 3x minus 4, in place of x I put 0. That would give me 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Alright, then I'm going to do the same thing with g, and everywhere there's a 0, everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 0. Alright, so the function 2x squared minus 1, I put a 0 in x's place. 0 squared is 0 times 2 is 0, minus 1 is negative 1. Now I have the function value for f and g. I'm going to add them together. So I would say f plus g of 0 equals negative 4 plus negative 1, which is negative 5. Alright, notice I get the same value, alright, no matter which method I use. So whichever method you think is easiest for you is the method you should use. Alright, so let's look at the next one. We want to do f minus g of 4. So I want to take the function f and subtract from it the function g. Now I can find f of 4 would be 3 times 4 minus 4, which would be 12 minus 4, which is 8. Then for g of 4, I would say 2 times 4 squared minus 1 would be 2 times 16 minus 1, which is 32 minus 1, which is 31. Alright, so here's f and here's g. I'm going to subtract them, so I'm going to say f minus g would give me a value of negative 23. Alright, now if I wanted to do the other method, so this was method 2 that I showed you earlier. I want to do method 1, alright, then I would say function f minus g of x would be function f 3x minus 4 minus, now remember we're subtracting the entire function, so put it in parentheses, so that would be 3x minus 4 minus 2x squared plus 1. When I combine like terms, I have negative 2x squared plus 3x minus 3. Alright, so now I want to know what is the value of this function when x is 4. So using my new function here, let me get over where you can see. Using my new function here, I'm going to fill in a 4 everywhere there's an x, and I didn't bring down my squared there. Let's get that in there. So everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put a 4. So that'll give me negative 2 times 16 plus 12 minus 3. Negative 32 plus 12 minus 3. And let's see, negative 32 and negative 3 make negative 35. And then plus a 12 will give me negative 23. Alright, so either method I use, I should get the same value. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. Alright, it says f times g of negative 2. So I'm going to find f of 2 first, and I'm then going to multiply it times g of 2. So f of 2 would be 3 times 2 minus 4. Oh, that's a negative. Negative 2, make sure I get my negative in there. So 3 times negative 2 minus 4 would be negative 6 minus 4, which is negative 10. Then g of negative 2 would be 2 times negative 2 squared minus 1. 2 times negative 4 minus 1. Negative 8 minus 1, which equals negative 9. Alright, so then I can come back up here and say negative 10 times negative 9 would give me a value of 90. Alright, and then if you want to work it the other way, you could. This way to me just seemed a little bit faster. Alright, and the last one is f divided by g. So if I want to find f divided by g, I would find f of 3 divided by g of 3. Alright, and then that would be f is 3x minus 4, so I would say 3 times 3 minus 4. And then g of 3 would be 2 times 3 squared minus 1. That would be 9 minus 4. This would be 2 times 9 minus 1. 9 minus 4 is 5. 18 minus 1 would be 5 over 17. Alright, so you can use whichever method you like. Method 1 or method 2, they both work. If it's just, remember, such as f plus g of x, f minus g of x, f times g of x, and f divided by g of x. If it's only these 4 things, alright, this doesn't require me to fill in any value for x. I simply do the operations, where I would say f of x plus g of x would give me a new function. Same for the other 3 operators. So the only time you should get out a value is when you put in a value. Otherwise, you should just get a new function.